So we left you young folks a big mess that you either change it or have fun and have fun quick because recess is just about over.
Heed the words of the brother.
And welcome to another exciting and eye-opening, mind-blowing episode of Hips News. Today, we're gonna do a little bit of retrospective and look into the past and hopefully find answers that will help us in the future. I'm Vessel 1 and
Vessel 2.
Vessel 2. Is there anything you want to say?
Yes, this flashback coming from my elders and just going over the messages, the strong messages that they had back then and kind of correlating to where we're at now. We have a lot to learn still from them, and I'm glad we took the time out to sit down and take heed to their words and hopefully walked away from this with a positive outlook on where we can go from here.
Okay, let's get ready.
Exists in this country. Right. And I think this is why people don't want to serve it and they don't want to put it out. Because then most people will really realize that we have done something, as a group. When they say we, I include all of us, man. Because, the cat's going to vote for Wallace. He's not talking about everybody except Bill Cosby. No, he's jealous because Bill Cosby's got some bread, too.
Yeah.
He's jealous because Harry Belafonte's got 2 Cadillacs or whatever. And he just assumed that this whole country be all white, you see. I just feel that if we can get the history put in, that isn't the only thing, but that is a very important thing, man. And it's an example of the racism and bigotry that exists in this country. Right. Because look at how harmless it is, you see, to say that a certain person did something and they did this and so forth and so on, and make it a part of an exam, but they refuse to do it. Before, last year, I excused the teachers.
Vessel 2, this is my opinions about what I just heard regarding Mr. Cosby. I hope he's doing well. He just came home from university. Speaking of college and studying, hope he's doing well. Yes, in this video, he states the obvious as far as what the mind state was then and how the mind state is pretty much the same now. The majority of the people who are in power, they still don't want to be, they still don't want to consider themselves equal to anyone outside of their group. So yeah, what he said was very prevalent, and I don't know what we can do to actually change anything at this point. Looks like this video was probably made in the 70s, I'm assuming. And right. It's in the 2000s now. So I think he's correct. If something as simple as stating the truth was displayed in our history books, I think conversations around race would be a lot easier. How about yourself? What you thinking? How you feeling?
Well, as they always say, what's the famous term? Well, people with power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And yeah, I agree. I think it should be taught in the history books and and school and lessons because it's very important. And although America is not perfect, you know, you should be at least true to what you have done and take responsibility over the things that you have done or have not done. So yeah, but Dr. Cosby always been about education and doing better for one's own mental state. You know, he invested a lot in college for colleges and such and so forth. So yeah, I think for him, I think it was a very important factor that people need to know and people need to learn and educate oneself.
I'm speaking as a black man from America, which is a racist society. No matter how much you hear it talk about democracy, it's as racist as South Africa or as racist as Portugal or as racist as any other racialist society on this earth. The only difference between it and South Africa preaches separation and practices separation. America preaches integration and practices segregation. This is the only difference. They don't practice what they preach. Whereas South Africa preaches and practices the same thing. I have more respect for a man who lets me know where he stands, even if he's wrong, than the one who comes up like an angel and is nothing but a devil.
All right.
So
What's your thoughts and opinions? Malcolm X breaking it down once again.
I think he spoke the obvious. He hit the head, you know, the nail on the head. You know, just like we talked about double talk. That's what they're good for. These Europeans or these elites, they go around and they say one thing and they turn around and do something totally opposite and expect you not to be upset or be on the defensive and want to question them and ask them what's going on. How you say?
Yeah, I think that was classic Malcolm X. I think every time I listen to some of his lectures, he is blatantly honest about the conditions that they were in at that time, and it's obvious how the conditions haven't really changed, or probably even as a group of people, population of people, we're probably worse off than when he was breathing. So yeah,
You think?
I think so. Yeah, because when he was alive, this was what, mid 60s, 65 was when,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
in or with that generation of kids anyway, you still had majority two household uh, families.
Oh, that's true.
So that was the last of the basically the what they call the nuclear family type of
Okay.
households.
Shit.
And, you know, I think the 70s might have been the mid 70s to the ending of the 70s period might have been literally the last big hurrah for uh, double parent households when it comes to our population within the group. So yeah, if he could see what's going on now as far as what I would say has been the unity aspect of it all, he probably, I don't think he would be surprised, but I would probably think he would just wonder, how did it get this way in such a short span of time? Because I mean, if they are saying generation of people is 2 decades, 20 years, it hasn't been that long since they put him in this box. But yeah, it's disturbing actually to hear some of these old speeches. And to me, it just a reminder of how when you hear other outlets of media or you hear other platforms and you see what's trending, I think a lot of people, they don't realize the true history of our country. I think they take it for granted that what was written in those books and given to us as history was just words on paper. They didn't really, there's no real connection.
Oh, just a minute.
You didn't say?
Just a minute.
Say he should be
just
killed?
a minute. You know, it's interesting how white folk sit here thinking that I have a reason to lie to you as though you are so powerful and you are so wonderful and I'm so ashamed of my words that I have to twist and turn. Please, you're not dealing with that kind of man. You're dealing with a man who means what he says and says what he means. Now listen.
What's your say on this?
That was an old clip too. Yeah, I think we all should live by that mantra as far as mean what you say and do as you said. I think that would probably make things a lot easier as you go by day to day. And I think a lot of people, they are worried about how someone feels, even if what you're saying is true. You don't want to tell somebody the truth because it might hurt their feelings. So by thinking like that, you are endangering yourself and probably the person who you're communicating with. So yeah, I totally agree with what he said in that clip. How about you?
Yeah, well, I think that's the epitome of America. And not to bring it up or keep bringing it up, but like in the book, Addicted to White, being subservient and don't hurt Mr. Charlie's feelings, biting your tongue on or certain things. That's something that's missing in most of the urban or the copper tone skinned people's uh, society or a mental mind frame. Beforehand, they would stand up and show the dominance or the alpha male per se. But if you're a man, you shouldn't have to tiptoe or be hesitant to speak what you truly feel, and especially when it's right. In that sense, this clip should bring back the forefront of being a manly man, or being a honorable man, or just being setting yourself as the male species. You should, stand your ground. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm.
I agree with you. I don't really see, I don't see anything good coming from not being able to say something, believe in something that you know is true, stand on your square about what you said or what you've done. Now, if it's not true and you're just finding out that it's not true, then you have to go ahead and readjust and try it again. But as far as if you know something is true, then you should be able to stand your grounds. I'm in concurrence. Next clip.
Yeah, coming to the conclusion.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
The reason that we are the way we are is because they did it, not we ourselves. We are not inherently bad. You have oppressed us. You went to Africa with the Bible. We had the land. When you left Africa, you had the land and we had the Bible. Now we have to explain to our people that this individual nonsense cannot do for us, because they will preach that individual nonsense and we will believe it and keep integrating their Wall Streets. We have to make a new slogan: one people, one voice. And we have to move as a people in our neighborhood to control. We have to stop reacting and we have to become aggressive. We can no longer stand up and beg anybody for a victory or a concession, because I'm here to tell you that if you beg a man for a victory, he gives it to you. It's his victory, not yours.
What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, he couldn't say it any plainer. You know, it's no different than what Malcolm X or any other these clips been saying. You know, you can't get anywhere by tiptoeing or begging or asking an oppressor for a victory or a win, or be gentle on me, or stop beating me, or stop treating me wrong, or stepping on my human rights, you know, or my civil rights, or any rights. You know, you have to come to a point where, you know, especially if you're talking about copper tone people or the urban society, you have to come to a point where you have to say, look, we have to do for our own. We have to stand up. We have to look at this. We have to reevaluate. And then we have to come up with a plan, come up with an option where we depend on ourselves and not ask for handouts, not beg for cookies or treats. You know, that even includes this reparation crap as well. You know, it is deserved, yes, but like you mentioned, it only should go to the people that deserve it, not just because you just saying, "Well, I'm melanated," or you know, I need this, I need that. You know, Gorilla Glue hair products. It's ridiculous. It has to come to a point where, you know, we're adults, and adults have responsibilities, and the responsibility is that you have to better yourself as a person. How do you feel?
Yeah, I agree. I think self-reliance is very important, but it's interesting. All the clips that we just previewed, there's probably only one who hasn't really been penalized for his thoughts to the point where he's dead or in jail. That's interesting. Looking at it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see, because these video clips are as old as they are, and if you look at what's happening in the country as we speak in modern day time, they are still talking about the same issues that needs to take place right now.
Exactly.
I don't know, and I don't see how any of the younger generation will look at these videos and walk away with saying, yeah, they're right, and just that be all that they do. That's pretty much what we do. And we're older than the younger generation now. We've heard this, we have known this, and we have not managed to come together and do any of the things that they said we should have done then. How can we get that done now with the way it is? I have no solution to that. But if you look at the country as a whole, our country itself is so divided to the point where the best thing I think anybody who is non-European could do is to stay out of their way when it comes to them going at each other, as usually what happens when they don't agree with themselves. And if we continue to sign up for their wars voluntarily now, it's been voluntary. The last big hurrah was when they were mandatory, sending brothers and sisters into the military. Now this is all voluntary. So as long as you continue to push your kids into the military and have them fight their wars, then there is no change. The kids who don't make it to the military, if they are out in the workforce and they're coming from poor set up design neighborhoods, which they were designed to have those who live there be very mediocre at best, then they don't have time to sit up there and logically think about how to get out of the situation. And the fathers have been taken out of the homes. So the whole system has been set up to do exactly what it's done to us. And there is a lot of Europeans in the same boat, but their savior is in their minds, at least I'm not black. Like that's supposed to get them out of the same situation that everybody's faced with who doesn't have enough financial means to do anything about where it is that they're currently are classed as far as middle class, lower class, whatever the class you've been placed in. If you don't have enough money to make your own announcement of your class, then there's only so much you're going to be able to do. Yeah, overall, good videos, same message almost in every one of these videos. And as far as have we been able to do anything with their message, the proof is in the pudding.
Well, what I'm hoping is that along with our narrations and our commentary, that this can be not only a awakening episode, but also a prime inspiration for those who run across or see it, pass it along, and start have alternate thinking. You know, you need to have an alternate thinking. You need to start uh, addressing these issues and really consider how can we, as a people or as a whole, how can we improve this, or how can we solve these problems? You know, be that if it's education, politics, police brutality, your mental thinking, standing up for your rights and expressing yourself without worries, or even being responsible and taking care of your own or your family members or your own heritage or people. You know, need to stop worrying so much about the financial gain and worry about how you're going to be able to survive for the next 5 to 10 generations ahead.
Yeah, I agree. But as long as you're trapped in a capitalist society, you're always gonna have to worry about finances.
True. But again, there is other options that we can go about doing so. It's just that, like you said, are we willing to do it? That's what it all boils down to. Well, as we get ready to conclude for Hips News, this is Vessel One,
And Vessel 2.
and we're signing off. Until next time, next week, Wednesday. Be safe and have a good week.
Peace to everybody listening, everybody who viewed. We appreciate you. Once again, leave a comment below. Until next time, stay safe. Peace.
Peace.